Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we have David, who's a software developer, and Nalia, a UX designer, and we're going to be interviewing them. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get into this. So first of all, could you both explain your job roles?
Would you like to start, Nele?
Okay, I can start. So I'm a UX designer, which means that I design user experiences. So how it is to use apps or websites or games, how it is experienced. So yeah, how it looks and feels.
Yeah, and I am a software developer, primarily focused on applications, mobile apps, iOS and Android. So I develop it, I write the code that Nelia decides to, the features she decides to be done, and also some game development. Yes.
What is the hardest project you guys have ever worked on?
You can go first, David. I need to think about this.
So one project I was working on, I can't talk about too much details, but it was a quite big company, and I just took over for another person that just left, and I had nothing to go on, and there was no comments in the code, and there were no documentation at all, and it was just a single person who had developed everything, and it just got dumped in my knee, and I had to figure out everything by myself, and nothing made sense at all, and it was just these were just spaghetti code everywhere, and tangled up completely. But in the end, I managed to crack most of the code and rewrite it to make a lot more sense, and yeah, that was quite a difficult project when there's no comments or things to go on when you start.
Nice. I think the most difficult thing I've ever worked on, or project I've ever worked on, was when I was working with SAS before at our previous company. And there was just so much things to think about, and it was so complicated, and it was like a real challenge to understand, like, what is the user supposed to be experiencing? How can we help them? How can we make the best for all the people? And everyone is so different. And because it was an app for people with diabetes, we realized like that means so everyone have their own like life and do their own things, and it's hard to make something that fits for everyone. So that was really, really challenging, but also very rewarding and very much fun.
Have you guys worked on any Steam games that are public right now? And if yes, did Steam removing Steam Greenlight make it harder for you for others to see your games?
No, at least I have not published any games to Steam.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
I have published to Apple, to App Store, and they have been quite cumbersome. They can be quite cumbersome to work with also, with some guidelines, and they're quite harsh for the sake of quality, of course, but it can be much to think about, and Steam is kind of the same in that manner.
Yeah, no, this is the first game I'm working on as well with David, so we're doing this. And are we gonna have it on Steam, David?
Of course, since that is the biggest platform out there.
Maybe we can answer the question when we have launched the game next year.
Before I ask my question, I just wanted to follow up. So you said you post games on iOS system. So, like, what are the guidelines exactly? So, how strict are they? Because like games like Fortnite have been banned off for boycotting their prices and everything like that. So yeah.
So yeah, my issues were not at all like the Fortnite issue. They were more like very specific about how the screenshots are taken and naming the app and writing description and also details in quality and making sure that everything is just right. The issue on Fortnite is quite a big and almost political issue where every payment has to go through Apple to ensure that it's a fair and square system and you're not getting scammed. But they also take a cut of that amount the company receives, which Epic Games, which creates Fortnite, doesn't like and wants to do by themselves. Also, for example, Spotify has this problem and they want to handle the payment by themselves. But if you open the gates for the big companies, they also have to open the gates for smaller companies, which would invite some of the more sketchy services to be able to handle payment by themselves.
Yeah, and I think Apple takes 30% cut. I think it's pretty large.
Another follow-up question from someone that is in like the developing side. Would you say Apple is in fault, like with the guidelines and like the strictness?
Vicky, do you want to repeat the question?
So for someone who's in the developing side of things and you publish on iOS, would you say Apple's mainly at fault, like with their guidelines and how strict they are?
As everything in the world is not just wrong or false, it's always a grayscale. And I think what they're doing is of course there's some profit and they want to make profit, but I think they make it for the good and they do it for the quality. If you go on the Play Store, they have a way broader catalog, but they are quite a lot of apps that don't really hold the standards that Apple apps do. So it can be quite cumbersome to work with, but in the end, I think it's for the good.
Nelia, do you want to talk from maybe a design perspective as well? Because obviously like Apple's guidelines affect you quite a lot.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so Apple has a lot of guidelines. They call them the human interface guidelines that can help you a lot to sort of like show you how to design the best type of navigation with the bar at the bottom and how to like best practices on how to design experiences in apps and in games. And by following these, you could save yourself a lot of time, and it's a great resource. On the other side, if you want to do something special, it might be a bit different and it might be harder to innovate on design and experience design. But like David says, it's to ensure that everyone has the same like good quality and it's easy to use. So I agree with David that it's for a good reason.
Okay, so now on to my question. If you could change anything, your job for anything else in the world, what would it be?
I actually like my job really, really much. So if I could choose, I wouldn't, even if I had all the money in the world, I would not stop developing. I would still develop. But if I could change something in my work, I would be more involved in the product development, where you decide, kind of where Nelia is, where you decide what to be developed and not just developing that stuff that's decided.
And I think if I want to change something about my job, right now I am a UX designer, designing websites for clinicians or for doctors as my main job, and then I do games as a hobby. And I would love to do games as my main job and make lots of games all the time.
If you could change anything about your career journey, what would it be? My mic, lol.
I would like to pick up Sass and carry her everywhere into every new job I ever have, and always work with her. No, she's amazing. And make more. I wish I made a game earlier. I love making games, and it's so much fun. And it's something that you can do as a hobby as well, like next to your job. So it's something I wish I just started doing before.
Well, yeah, I would kind of the same as Nelia. I have done small games before, and I have also started quite a lot of projects, but some of them have failed, just ran in just timed out. And if I could change everything, I would have completed more and started less.
What type of programming language do you use, and how long did it take to learn it?
So just as Nelia, I develop games on the side of my main job, and in the main job I use Swift and Kotlin for apps, but in the game side I use C#, which is used in Unity. We're using Unity as a game engine, which holds physics and sound engine and graphics engine and everything in just one package. And the scripting language used there is C#. And I would say C# is kind of a easy to learn language. It's quite similar to Java if you know these languages. But the most important thing I think is that if you know the basics of programming and developing, any language is learnable. It's just about learning the mindset, and then it's just not a syntax. You can learn that, you can Google that, you can read. The most important thing is to get into the mindset.
I don't know where I've heard this, but didn't Unity stop I don't know the word, didn't stop support or something like a few years ago? Or I'm just hallucinating, I don't know.
Stop support for what exactly?
I don't know. I heard this like a year or 2 years ago. I kind of can't remember, but something to do with Unity and support. I don't remember.
Don't really know exactly. We are using the latest version, but could be something like they are dropping support for older hardware or older versions of software and stuff, which is always happening continuously. But one really big game that has been developed by Unity is in Unity is, for example, Hollow Knight, which is quite big game and is developed completely in Unity.
So a follow-up question from earlier, when you were talking about your career journey, David, you said something about failing some of your games, I believe, or some failed projects. Could you expand on that?
Yeah, I don't know the English term. Stuff just you don't do it. It's just running out in sand. Can you say that in English? And it could be that it takes quite a lot of people to make a game. You need a lot of competences. You need scripting knowledge, developing, and you need game development, level design, graphics, UX, sound, music, and there's quite a lot of stuff. And where I failed could be we are missing one competence, and instead of searching for that competence and reaching out for people, maybe people we don't even know, to get the complete package, we just lay down and give up, even though we could have put in quite a lot of time in something.
2 hours later.
Could I ask a follow-up actually? So for this game, what kind of was the difference? Like, why did you choose to, you know, find Nelia, find other people to help you out with this game?
So yeah, I just get really bored of giving up. So I just figured I wanted to just spec out, listed all the competences that we needed, and just made sure that we had everything covered. And design is continuously not something I don't have covered. And me and Nelia work in the same daytime job, and she's doing a great job there. So I thought that she would be a good match, and asked her if she was interested, and she was. So here we are with that. And the other competences, for example, music and sound. I know people, because I come from a music background, so I know people that are really good at that. And some other like game design, which elements should we have in the game, and what kind of level, and stuff like that. We agreed upon that we should do together.
So I wanted to ask both of you this. So, are there any like designs or apps well known that you guys have invented or designed?
Have you, David, worked on anything well known? I'm thinking.
Not in the games, no. So as Nelia said, this is the first real game, big game that we are doing, and this is going to be quite huge. So in 1.5 years, we will say definitely yes to this. But if we're thinking other projects, I at least have been working with Volvo and healthcare in Sweden.
Yeah, and I've been working with like healthcare mainly in Sweden and in England, and nothing that is very famous.
Okay, I'll ask for him. What qualifications do you guys need for your job?
So software development is quite a unique profession. Can be completely self-taught and learned, as long as you can prove what you know and what you can do, you can land a pretty good job as a software developer. But for the standard thing to study is a bachelor degree in computer science.
And for design, I think there are a lot of ways into user experience designs. You can study user experience design, or you can just start working. A lot of designers just start in Photoshop and have fun, or they draw, or they just learn some tools, yeah, it started maybe with personal projects that you just experiment with, and then I think it's when you go into user experience as a field and not just like design and artwork, where it's more like art, design and art can be more like more drawing and illustration, but that user experience design, it can be important to have empathy, so to be able to think like, if somebody comes here, maybe, or if something like happens, if I lose internet connection, like, oh, that's annoying, like what should happen, and do they feel like really annoyed, and what is the easiest way to solve this and make it a smooth experience? What can we do to just make it like nice? So to be able to have empathy with people, I think it's
yeah, maybe I should just clarify that like Nelia said, the mindset and stuff. In developing, it's you could just start with your own project. It could be creating a do-it-yourself smart home system with a lamp and a button, just some few lines of code, and interest of tech and a problem-solving mindset could get you going and learning quite a lot.
Do you have any good strategies of attracting more people to like your products or what you're making? Like making them want to download your app?
This is quite a bit in the future, but we have think a bit on it, and it has very much to do on with online presence. If you're not on the internet, you don't exist. It's quite that simple. Nobody gonna go on Steam and search for your game explicitly. You have to reach out to the people that are going to play your game. So you have to create some kind of blog or YouTube channel or Instagram account and market yourself all the time. Just get your stuff out there. It's quite a harsh market. There's many really good games out there, and so you just have to get to it and get heard, be loud. Would you like to add something, Nile?
Anything?
No, that was good.
Can you guys tell us more about your game? So like what type of theme you're going for, and like the storyline.
Yeah. I think you should do this, David. You have a really good picture.
So it's basically a Metroidvania. If you are not, if you don't know any games like Metroidvania, you could think of Super Metroid, basically all the Metro games, Guacamelee, Hollow Knight. But if you would describe the genre, it's a 2D platformer with an interconnected world, not singular levels, or like Celeste or Mario. It's more like an open world in 2D, where parts of the map are locked behind different features. It could be you need to get double jump to get to a new place, or a dash in the air or something. And it's quite a dark theme. I don't want to spoil everything, but it's about the afterlife, what could be coming, and it's quite dark. We are working quite a lot on the tone and theme of the game. Nelia have done a huge job there with her UX mindset to what would a person feel and I think she had done some really good workshops there with mapping out the feeling we want to achieve with the game. So yeah, the goal is a quite hard 2D Metroidvania game with a dark theme about the afterlife.
Do you think you could both talk to us a little bit about maybe like the good things about making a game, but also the challenges?
The good thing is that you get to, or at least the way we work with this game is that we get to learn a lot. I don't normally work so close to music, but now we listen to a lot of music to find the right mood, to find and learn so much about the development process, like how is it working with upgrades like David is working on right now, what's going to happen, and how should there be like collectibles in the game, like should you collect stuff, and all of this is very interesting to learn about. So I think that's the good thing. And a challenge for sure is to also think about all these things and having them come together and make them have a same feeling, like they all need to sort of like get tangled together in a nice way and work. It's boring to play a game where it's too easy, and also a game that is too hard. So we need to find the right balance, and that's challenging but very much fun. Okay.
Yeah, I would agree. It's really fun also to get out of your comfort zone a bit, trying new things and learning new stuff. And also, since we're not really Blizzard, we are 4 people doing So we're doing quite a lot together, and it's really fun to just sit and brainstorm and develop on each other's ideas, and just moving forward and seeing something develop and coming to life. And something that's really hard for me, you touched on it, Nelia, it's getting everything to make sense in the world. Since we are creating a completely new world, everything has to make sense. Like, for example, say that, yeah, we're going to have a temple here. Why is there a temple here? Who built the temple? Why isn't there any other buildings here? And every world has economy, even if it's sticks and rocks. What kind of economy? How does it work? It's such a depth in everything to make a world become living and feel alive that you don't really feel about when you play a game. But when you think about it, it's what makes a good or a bad world. It's the depth of it, how much thought behind it.
Yeah, and I think to add on what you just said, David, it's you don't think about it if it's a good game, but if it's a bad game, you tend to think about like, oh, that's annoying. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, what is this?
Yeah.
What audience is the game based on?
We're thinking kind of the older teen or lower young adult, quite gamery audience, not the casual one game a year type of gamer, not the playing on the subway to work. It's you're supposed to be comfortable with gaming, since it's supposed to be quite a hard game with complex upgrade systems and progression. We are we don't have a really firm release date. We are having our eyes on Q3, the third or fourth quarter next year. It depends on how close we are to the finish, and also we have to consider other games dropping in that time frame. Say that a really big game and franchise of the same genre are dropping 2 weeks earlier. We're not going to make any sales because people will be busy with that game. So we have to be kind of flexible with the time frame to find a slot where we as indie developers can fit the market. And without discussing this with the other, I would say that we will have some kind of beta testing. We need to have that, and I would guess that would be relevant for summer next year.
Yeah, we would love to have you test it. That would be great.
Okay, good. Thank you so much, David and Elia. Like, this has been super informative, and I know that we kept you for like longer than we said we would. But I think maybe it's like a final sort of round off. Maybe both of you could speak some sort of like inspirational words for the young people. So they're at the age where they're going to be doing exams, which will sort of define what they do for the rest of their career. So maybe give them some like inspirational words about like when you were 14 years old and then how you viewed life and the rest of your career.
First of all, thank you for having us. It was really fun to answer questions, speak about the game and our career. And I would just like to say, I know it can be boring and tough, but better times will come, and just don't think about doing something. Just do it. It's everything takes way less time if you just do it from the beginning, not thinking about doing it and worrying about it not being done and So just do it, and so you can enjoy your free time after.
Yeah, thank you for having us. And yeah, I agree with what David said, that it's it's always like you start to think about what you want to do when you grow up, and you try to plan it in and la la la, but it never turns out like that anyway. From my experience, it's always, as long as you know what you like and you have an open mind to try new things, and you're always willing to learn about them. Like we love making games, but we can't work making games because we have other jobs, but we do it on our spare time anyway. So it's like, as long as you want something and want to try it, and you don't need to go there straight away. You could try a lot of different things and sort of like see where you end up and go with the flow. Life doesn't have to be like a planned schedule that you follow. So yeah.
And also, when you're parking a car, if you're looking at the cars on the side, you're going to crash. You need to stay focused on where you want to go, and on the empty spot. And it's exactly the same in life. Don't focus on what happened if I fail, or that could go wrong and this could go wrong. Focus on the goal and just do it.
LOL!
All right, brilliant. I love that. Like, find what you love, focus on it, and just do it. Go with the flow. This is all great advice. I wish someone had given me this advice when I was a teenager. But yeah, so if there's no more questions, I think everyone would just like to say like thank you. I'll like message you, and then they can like tag you in the videos and stuff like that. All right, awesome. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thanks for having us. Bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Good luck with the game.
Bruh.
Thank you. Thank you so
Thank you.
much. Good luck with the test.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.